Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Motivation Monday. Happy Monday, April 24th. Yay. Glad to have you. We're going to do a little bit of a quiz with you today. I like to sort of change things up and help you stay motivated. I just had to turn off my Alexa reminder, so it would stop dinging while we're talking. So I'm Maurice Williams. I'm with JobMorph. It's a company I founded that helps people find their dream jobs. And every single week for about 15 minutes, I do this Motivation Monday series. And if this is your first time, welcome. If you're coming back for another session, welcome back. And if you want to share this with friends and family, please feel free, put it on social media, do whatever you want with it. I'm happy to be here with you today. And so what I'm going to do today for the next 15 minutes is kind of take you through a little bit of a quiz about self-motivation, because one of the challenges, right, in achieving, one of the challenges is being self-motivated, right? Finding your dream job requires you to be self-motivated. There's no question about that, that it's going to have to come from your internal self-motivation. And there's like 4 factors that are necessary in order to have self-motivation. One of them is self-confidence and self-efficacy. Right? So I'm going to focus on like sort of 4 questions that essentially test your self-confidence and self-efficacy. And just keeping in mind that this is like 25% of the way towards self-motivation. Okay, and so here's the questions, right? Ask yourself this question: are you unsure of your ability to achieve your job search goals that you set for yourself? Are you unsure? And if the answer is like often, very often, that's a sign right there alone of an issue with your self-confidence and your self-efficacy. Another way to kind of pry into that question would be when you're working on achieving your dream job, are you putting in the maximum effort and working harder when you have a setback? And if the answer is yes, very often and often, I am doing that. If I get a setback, I don't get an interview for a position I want, or I get an interview, but I don't get an offer, I throw myself deeper into it. That is a sign that you have strong self-confidence and self-efficacy. But if the opposite is true, there is a weakness there. Another question for you: I believe that if I work hard and apply my abilities and talents, I will be successful in finding my dream job. If that's true for you and how you feel often or very often, guess what? You have a high degree of self-confidence and self-efficacy. If that's false for you, then we got a problem there. And here's the last one that's sort of kind of trying to get into this question of how self-confident are you? How much self-efficacy is there for you? When an unexpected event threatens or jeopardizes my goal, like for instance, they have a hiring freeze at a company that you really hope to get a job at, I tend to walk away, set a different goal, and move in a new direction. So if that's often or very often for you, guess what? You have a low self-confidence and self-efficacy. And that lack of self-confidence and that lack of belief in yourself is one of the challenges you're facing in achieving your dream job. So I want you to think about that. Like there are these 4 things that I've got to have high level of self-motivation. And one of them is self-confidence and self-efficacy. And if that's an area of weakness for you, well, let's hope the next one is a strength, right? So what's the next one? The next one is positive thinking and positive thinking about the future, right? So I'm going to ask you some questions that try to get at, are you positive thinking Are you positive thinking about the future? So let's get going. I think positively about setting goals and making sure my needs are met. Often, very often, positive thinking right here. Here's another one. When I come up with a really good idea, I'm surprised by my creativity. I figure it's my lucky day and caution myself not to get used to that feeling. Does that happen to you very often? Well, guess what? You're not very positive thinking then. So that's the second one. Now a couple more. I tend to worry about why I won't reach my goals, and I often focus on why something probably won't work. That's often, very often for you. Guess what? You're not such a positive thinker. Last one, I create a vivid and powerful vision of my future success before embarking on a new goal. Then you probably have very strong and positive thinking and positive thinking about the future. So now we've kind of gone to two things that keep us self-motivated, right? It's self-confidence and self-efficacy, positive thinking and positive thinking about the future specifically. And so if these are struggles for you, if both of these turned out to be struggles for you as you walk through this quiz, this might explain to you why you have trouble sticking with this goal of finding your dream job. The weakness is in self-motivation, and the area of weakness within self-motivation is self-confidence and positive thinking. So the third factor that you need to build the strongest levels of self-motivation are focus and strong goals. So these are some questions to see, are you somebody who has focus? You might know the answer to this already, and strong goals. Like, are you someone who is focused and who set themselves some strong goals? So here's two questions just to help with us isolate that. I regularly set goals and objectives to achieve my vision for my life. So it's really a question to ask yourself, like, do I have goals and objectives to achieve this vision for a dream job? And if the answer is, I don't set any goals, it's rarely, not at all, then we got a problem here. Or if it's often, very often, then this is a strength of yours. And so that is one of these two questions that I'm going to ask you that has to do with goals. Right? And here's the second one. I worry about deadlines and getting things done, which causes stress and anxiety. So most of the attention for you is on worrying about things, stressing out about things, being anxious about things. And if that's very often or often what's going on, then probably have a challenge with focus and setting strong goals. And the fourth element really to achieving this is really about a motivating environment. So I want you to think about that you use rewards and consequences to keep yourself focused. For example, if you finish something like an application, you give yourself a coffee break or a walk around the block. Is this how you operate often, very often? Or is this a rare thing for you? It's kind of the question here. And so, there's one left that we've got to kind of go over, and that is, let's see. So I kind of lost track of the one that, let me see where that is. Where'd that go? Oh, here it is. This is the one we need to go over still. Okay. I tend to do the minimum amount of work necessary. Right? If that's you, you need a motivating environment. Is the thought here. And so, look, self-motivation doesn't come naturally to everyone. And even some people who are highly self-motivated need some extra help even now and then on specific tasks. So you can be a highly motivated person, very self-motivated when it comes to, let's say, your job. You have self-confidence, you have self-efficacy, you're positive thinking, you think positively about the future, you have focus, and you have set goals for yourself, and you've built and created and foster a motivating environment for you when it comes to your job. But it could be when in other parts of your life, that's not the case. And so you need some extra help, some extra support, some extra resources in that. And that other part of your life where you might need some help, maybe in terms of finding your dream job. It really may be that that's an area for you where you're not confident, where you lack self-efficacy, where you're not positive thinking, where you don't set goals for yourself, and you don't build a motivating environment around yourself. And so that is what keeps you from achieving this kind of self-motivation you need to get what you want in your dream job. Right? So I thought today I would kind of talk about that, like kind of looking a little bit internally and asking ourselves, like, well, I get that I'm not making progress in my dreams, but what is it that's holding me back? Is it that I'm unsure of my ability to achieve these things? Is it that when I have setbacks, I don't work harder? In fact, I work less? Is it that I'm not really regularly setting goals and objectives in order to achieve that vision? Is it possibly that I don't think positively? That I'm not really using rewards and consequences to keep myself focused? Or that I just don't believe, even if I work hard at this, even if I try my best, that I'm going to be successful? Like, I really don't believe that I'm going to get a positive result? Or that most of my time is really being spent with stress and anxiety and worry, and really very little time being spent on any action to achieve my goals? Is it when I have a setback, something unexpected threatens or jeopardizes my goal? Am I sort of dropping the goal and focusing on some other area of my life? Like, oh, I just read that there's been a lot of layoffs in technology, so I'm going to go focus on, remodeling my house. And then when all that's better, I'll focus on that goal again. Rather than saying, okay, despite these economic times, how can I get my dream job achieved? Right? So rather than that approach, when something good is coming your way towards your dream job, like you get an interview, or you get invited to a second round of an interview, or you find a job that you're really interested in, or an organization that you're really interested in, or you finally have nailed what to do about that LinkedIn profile or that resume or that cover letter, or how to answer some interview questions, like something good has happened. Is your attitude like, wow, that's just pure luck, or it's not that important, or of course I can do that because it's not that big of a deal, it doesn't really count, it doesn't really matter, it's not a real interview? I hear that a lot. Somebody gets contacted by a recruiter to chat for a half hour, and the person tells me, hey, that's not a real interview, it doesn't really count. Of course it counts. So if you're doing that to yourself, that is going to hurt your chances of achieving your goals. And are you really doing the minimum amount of work? Or are you fully vested in this? Is most of your energy really going into why this won't work out for you, rather than into the things that really drive it, which are applications, right? Following up on applications, networking, following up on networking. So is the emphasis really, in your case, on the worry and the anxiety around all of this, and not on the activity that yields the results? And is there really no vivid, powerful vision of yourself succeeding in achieving this goal? Because if you are unable to create this vision of success, it's unlikely that you will achieve success. So I thought today, just as a different approach, that we would kind of focus on these questions that we can ask ourselves to help us understand our self-motivation, because it is complex. And that level of self-motivation is truly linked to the initiatives that you're taking to achieve your goals. So if you really don't believe in your ability to get there, probably not going to spend a lot of time getting there. If you're spending most of your time really with negative thoughts, probably going to not be motivated. If you're spending most of your time worrying rather than doing, probably not going to get there. So I thought, let's take a few minutes and kind of think, what am I doing with my what am I doing with my mind? What am I doing with my time? And maybe this inspires some of you to change that up a little bit. And I really bet you, if you change up a little bit your approach, if this kind of opens up your eyes to how you've been approaching this, and you change it up a little bit, you're going to see some changes in results. Because it really starts with your self-confidence, your positive thinking, your focus, and building that motivating environment for you. This can be a part of that motivating environment, but we need more parts of it, right? It can't be the only thing. Well, you guys have a great day and a great week, and I'll see you next week for the next part of this. Take care. Bye-bye.